afternoon. We would like to welcome everyone to the 2026 Missouri High School Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame Awards Dinner. At this time, we'd like to thank Fundraising U for sponsoring this event, where we will honor and recognize our coaches and players throughout the state of Missouri. My name is Justin Rogers, and I'm serving my final year as the president of this great organization. At this time, I'd like to introduce the head table. To my right, we have Jim Julian, President-elect. Michael Calhoun, Class 4 VP. Justin Tao, representing Class 6 today. Tony Perkins, Hall of Fame Chair. To my left, we have Tim Vincent, our Class 2 VP. Darren Henderson, our Class 3 VP. And Morgan Matthews, our Class 1 VP. Please silence electronic devices as we proceed with it. And this time I would like to invite Bill Seaman to the podium to deliver an invocation before our meal.
Please bow our heads. Thank you, dear Heavenly Father, for this beautiful day which you have given us, a day that we can set aside and honor coaches and the work they put in throughout the year. We pray your blessings upon them, and as they start a new season, we pray that they can make a difference in the lives of the young people that they touch daily, and just be with all the friends and guests that came this day to help celebrate such an honor for our Hall of Fame members. We just pray now that you would bless this food before us, and just thank you for all the gifts you've given us. In Jesus' name, amen.
Thank you, Bill. We'll start with our Hall of Fame award-winning members and their guests. Then all other tables will follow the buffet line after Hall of Fame members and the head table. Thank you. All right, please continue to finish up eating if you need to. We're going to go ahead and get started with the program. At this time, we'll begin with a recognition of the Longevity Club. All coaches who have coached 5 or more years, please stand. 10 or more years, please stand. 15 or more years, please stand. 20 or more years, please stand. 25 or more years, please stand. 30 or more years. 35 or more years, please stand. 40 or more years, please stand. 45 or more years, please stand.
Can you stand?
All right, let's give a round of applause to all of our coaches there. I knew where to look for 45. Next, we'll recognize the Victory Club. All coaches who have reached 100 career wins in the last year, please stand. And 150 wins, please stand. 200 wins, 250 wins, 300 wins, 350 wins, 400 wins, 450 wins, 500 wins, 550 wins, 600 wins, 650 wins, and 700 wins. Let's hear it again for all of our coaches in attendance. Now we'd like to recognize our coaches who experienced postseason success in the 2025 season. If your name is called, please come to the front where President-elect Jim Julian will present you with your award. After that, please meet me by the backdrop for a photo. The class vice presidents will present these awards, beginning with Class 1 Vice President, Mr. Morgan Matthews.
If you're listed in the program as a district champion for any class, please stand. Please join me in congratulating the district champions from 2025. Quarterfinalists for Class 1, Jeff Ayers, South Iron. Chase Stummenfull, Wellington Napoleon. Eric Ingram, Halfway. Dale Whitaker, Green City. Class 1 state semifinalists, Joe Bickings, Oran. Pat Doherty, Wheatland. Luke Cassis, Faith Christian. Class 1 state champion, Coach of the Year, Caleb Heckemeyer, St. Elizabeth. Now for Class 2, Vice President Tim Vincent.
Class 2 quarterfinalists, Marcus Massey, Bernie, Brady Welsh, Hartville, Matthew Buford, Scotland County, Dakota Dunlap, Maysville. Class 2 state semifinalists, Aaron Horrell, Chaffee, Tanner Helton, Eugene, Dylan Cooper, Tipton, and Class 1 state champions and Coach of the Year, Justin Snyder of Miller. And Coach Calhoun will present Class 3.
Class 3 quarterfinalists, Mark Minley, Valley Park, Brandon Cobb, Clever, Matthew Hahn, Priority, and Brian Faulkner, West Platte. Class 3 state semifinalists, William Reed, Fairgrove, Tyler Trover, Portageville, and Jeff Smith, Holden. And the Class 3 state champion and Coach of the Year, Tyler Van Gerpen, Fatima. Class 4 Vice President Michael Calhoun will announce Class 4.
Yes, we don't. Yeah, I know, we're twins. I get it. Real similar. Class 4 quarterfinalists, Dan O'Keefe, Perryville, Mike DeMilla, Blair Oaks, Michael Kratz, MICDS, and Scott Maid, Pleasant Hill. In Rogersville, and Trey Morris, Father Tolton Catholic. In the Class 4 Coach of the Year, State Champion, Troy Figg, Chillicothe. And presenting Class 5 and Class 6, Justin Towle.
Class 5 quarterfinalists, Jeff Montgomery, Festus, Bryce Durnan, Camdenton, Kai Arell, St. Dominic, and Andrew Doning, Webb City. Class 5 semifinalists, Dave Stewart, Vianing, William Pate, Marshfield, and Jason Schneider, Rockwood Summit. And your Class 5 state champ, John Sipes, Platte County. Class 6 quarterfinalists, Josh Roach, Jackson, Kyle Wolf, Joplin, Tim Canavan, DeSmet, Jim Melody, Lee Summit. Semifinalists, Matt Brown, Parkway South, Eric Goff, Fort Zumwalt West, and DeAndre Josenberger, Staley. And then your Class 6 state champion, Ben Bear, Blue Springs South.
Next, we'll recognize the Assistant Coaches of the Year. It's sponsored by Cooperstown Bat Company. This year's recipients are Zach Studdard from Rolla High School, TJ Smith, Portersville High School, McGuire Dean, Tipton High School, and Jeff Mason, Glendale High School. Time for our Field of the Year awards. The Turf Field of the Year is Norm Oceaner Field at St. Dominic High School, Coach Kai Arell. The Advanced Turf Solutions Grass Field of the Year is Rod Haley Field, New Bloomfield High School, Justin Forsyth, and Doug Peters. Award, sponsored by Louisville Slugger. This year's recipient is Keelan Zumwalt from Summit Christian Academy. Now's the time to recognize our scholarship winners. All 6 winners from 2025 have provided proper documentation and have received their checks. This year we had 33 applicants for the scholarship. It's a really good number. And through that competitive process, the top 6 were chosen by the scholarship committee. And they are as follows: Brody Porter from Boonville, Lane Hackman, New Franklin, Zane Stewart, Nixa, Cooper Callahan, Blue Springs South, Cody Rogers, Marcelin, and Davin Pistol, Russellville. These young men will be presented with checks at next year's awards dinner upon submitting the proper documentation from their first semester of college. We already congratulated them, but please join me in congratulating all the scholarship winners. All right, next, Missouri High School Baseball Coaches Association Players of the Year were selected from each class at the All-State meetings in June. The 2025 Players of the Year are as follows. Class 1 Player of the Year, Gavin Williams, St. Elizabeth High School. Class 2 Player of the Year, Jace Wilkinson, Miller High School. Class 3 Player of the Year, Ethan Rogers, Lone Jack High School. Class 4 Player of the Year, Brennan Goring, St. Charles West High School. Class 5 Player of the Year, Brendan McLaughlin, Platte County High School. Class 6 Player of the Year, Brady Earlbeck, Staley High School. Congratulations to each of those players. At this time, we will present the Janet and Bill Seaman Distinguished Service Award. This year's award winner is Eric Briggs. Eric spent 17 years as a high school coach in the state of Missouri, where he compiled a career record of 291 and 217 before he became a scout in the Kansas City Royals organization. He's currently an assistant coach at Drury University in Springfield. He also spent many years serving as the Missouri High School Baseball Coaches Association president and has been here as a clinic speaker on multiple occasions now. Coach Briggs' award will be presented to him at a Drury baseball game later on this spring. Congratulate Eric Briggs, Distinguished Service. Now is the time in our program where we would like to recognize the 2026 Hall of Fame inductees. Please welcome Chairman of the Hall of Fame Committee, Tony Perkins, who will make the Hall of Fame introductions.
Well, it's my honor to introduce the three guys that are going in. And it's really cool for me just because I consider all three of them friends. There's the one really requirement you have to have coached for 15 years. So if you guys know anybody that's out there that's coached 15 years and want to, get them to me, we'll get them on the ballot and see what happens from there. So we've been doing a pretty good job, I think, of picking guys up, and that's good. When we're all done here, I would like for all the Hall of Fame members to meet over here and get a picture. So with that, I'm going to move on to our first inductee, and that is Ben Baer. Ben graduated from Rockhurst College. I got to put my cheaters on. He's been in Blue Springs South for a lot of years. 2014, he was third place. 18, he was third place. 22 was second place, and he closed the deal this last year and won the state championship. He also was named Coach of the Year by the ABCA and the national M.H.S.B.C.A. So he's been out there quite a bit, and I consider him my friend. Ben Baer.
Batting leadoff. I've never batted leadoff before in my life, so here we go. To begin with, I'd like to say how deeply honored and humbled I am to be up here this afternoon. And I'd like to begin by thanking the association and the Hall of Fame committee for this incredible honor. Never in my wildest thoughts, when I sat out there 28 years ago, did I think this would ever be something that I would get to do. It just goes to show that I surrounded myself with some really good individuals over the years. So it gives me a chance today to publicly say thank you to those individuals. I'd also like to begin by congratulating Rob and Brian, both of you guys. I got to know you a little bit more this last year. Very well-deserved and honors for you guys both as well. Whenever a coach receives any sort of honor like this, I think we all know it's not just about him, it's about those around him. And any recognition that I have received is not because of me, but because of the hard work and support of the players, the assistants around me, and the folks, our support system within that as well. So like I said, I want to take a few minutes to say thank you to those individuals. Got a speedboat rolling out there, it's good. I'd like to begin by thanking my biggest supporters, and that's obviously, of course, the folks sitting at this table right here, the family. I know for certain that I would not be standing up here if it was not without the love and support of my wife, Suzanne. We've been married 26 years, is that right? I'm gonna get in trouble for that, I know, but she has done so many things behind the scenes to help me in my career, the program overall. If you know, when you're the head coach, your wife, your spouse has to be there to support you and be 100% all in, and she has been that forever. If I have done anything right in my life, when I get to, hopefully one day I get to heaven, and the good Lord asked me, what was the best thing you did? The best thing I did is I somehow convinced that woman to say yes a long time ago. So thank you, hon. Love you for everything. I also want to take a second to thank my two kids, Brett and Bailey. You guys have both spent countless hours when you were growing up at the baseball fields and running around with South things on and stuff. And you were always there to support me after a tough loss or whatever the case may be. I'm extremely proud of both of you, your work ethic and how you compete in football and in cross and stuff. The coolest thing last year, one of the coolest things last year was after the last game and we won. I'm walking up the steps after trying to get up to everybody, and the first two people I got to hug were my two kids, and that meant a lot to me. I don't know if you guys understood how much that meant, but it did. Love you guys so much. Growing up, I was I had a very supportive family, and it still shows today. My sister, she's here today, and her husband Mike. Jenny was like any little sister at the time when her big brother's out playing ball. She's at a baseball field running around. I'm sure she had a million other places she'd rather be, but she was there, and I thank you guys both for being here. It means a lot to me. And like many of you in the room today, my dad was my first baseball coach. Taught me the game, sorry. He taught me the game, taught me how to work ethic, him and my late mom, that they provided me with everything. And I don't know if he understands the impact that he had on my life. I try to emulate you. And I'll tell you this right now, there's not a harder working person in this room than that man right there. I'll put my word on that one. So, Dad, thank you for everything. Love you. Thank you very much. Family is also not always about blood relations. I got two people sitting right here that I consider a brother and a sister to me. David and Jamie, thank you guys for taking the time to be here. I've known this dude since 5th grade. I'm not getting into some stories that we've done together over the years, but yeah, a good guy. I don't know why she hangs out with him, but she does. Been very lucky to have tremendous support from my school, specifically from my ADs over the years. And I'm lucky enough to have some guys that made the trip down today to be here. Start off with Mark Bubalo right there. Mark Bubalo hired me back in 2008. I remember the day when you came in and asked me if I wanted the job, and I was like, heck yes, I do. Let's go to work. Mark, gotten to know Mark over the years, obviously really well. Tremendous advocate for high school sports in our community, does a great job. Coach Tim Michael. Tim is a longtime AD at South for me throughout a majority of my career. I don't think Coach Michael understands the impact that he had on me and the words that he would say to me, just how he would talk about how you handle issues and things such as that. Good man right there, and Tim, thank you for everything. And finally, the guy that I get to work next to every day and one of my best friends in the world, Jimmy Kane. I'm his assistant AD. I I get to work with one of my best friends every day, Coach Kane. Before he became the AD, we would talk about any number of issues. He still will talk to me about issues that I've been doing this a while, but I still want to ask things, and he's always there to offer his support and advice, and I thank him for that. I'm lucky to call all those guys my friends. Thank you guys for being here. Next to my dad, the biggest influence in my career probably is Coach Richard Wood. Coach Richard Wood was the head coach at Blue Springs South before me. I'm lucky enough to have been only the second baseball coach in South's history. I was lucky to land at South back in 1999. In the spring of 99, he allowed me to come on and be a volunteer on the JV, I believe, that year. And then the next year, I got moved up. I got promoted. I got moved up to the varsity where I was with him for 9 years. Richard Wood is one of the best individuals in the world, and I learned so much from him. The friendships that I have with him and his wife, Cindy, mean the world to me. You guys are great people. Love you. Thank you guys for being here and for everything you've done for me. If I've done one thing right in my career, it is I've always surrounded myself with good assistants. As we all know, having the right guys in the dugout with you means the world, wins and losses and all that. But it also, we're trying to build and maintain the program, not just have a good season. We wanted a program. And I've been very lucky, in fact, throughout my career to have those guys. It started with Andy Mayfield back in 2009. Andy Mayfield started out with us, coached 5-6 years with me, decided to go the admin route. We lost him. But he was one of those guys that helped build the program with us, what we were to do. We transferred from Andy to Blake Whitney. Blake Whitney, who, by the way, when he decides to become a head baseball coach, will be one hell of a baseball coach. I'm just saying that out loud. But Blake, part of our group, and it helped build us to where we are. And then about 3 or 4 years ago, I was able to talk an old friend who had just retired to join us, an old Hall of Famer. So Coach Gary Renshaw joined our coaching staff 4 years ago now. We lost him this year to the college ranks, but Gary came in, fit in, did a fantastic job with our guys. They loved him, and that's what we want in our coaches. I wanted coaches that I wanted my son to be around if he played. And I've got that right now with guys on my staff: Chris Miller, Clint Longwell, Matt Zukanik, Michael Kober. They're invested in our kids, and that's the number one thing that I want. And I've got those guys. I've also been very, very lucky to have had one assistant coach with me the whole way. Sean Callahan has been a huge part of our success over the years. He cares about our kids. He cares about them. He's been able to form relationships that will go on after high school with these guys, and he knows the game. Simply put, he is one of the best, and I've been very fortunate to have him as my assistant over all these years. Sean, thank you for your friendship and what you've done for our baseball program, bud. And I can't leave here today without thanking a lot of the guys in this room that I've gotten to coach against and compete against over the years. I coach in what I believe is the toughest conference in the state. I know everybody thinks that about their own conference. I do too. The Suburban Gold is very, very tough, and the coaches in that conference, you have to bring it every day. You're going up against some pretty smart dudes, and those better made our teams a lot better. And then you look at the guys across the state that I've gotten to go against: Justin Tao, Tony Perkins, Brian Driscoll, Dave Wilson, Kirk Bragg, Ryan Stiegel, Jim DeGraw, Eric Goff, alumni after a big win, or parents, or a former player baseball community in Missouri. I firmly believe that. It's the calls that you get from alumni after a big win, or parents, or a former player calling to say, hey, I just got engaged, or we're expecting. Those are the calls that mean a lot, and that's why we should be doing what we do. Case in point, though, about the relationship piece. I don't know if these guys know it. I know one of them's here. I'm not sure the other is. In 2004, this too. A few years ago, we were in Arizona at B.C.A. clinic, and I somehow found myself sitting on a balcony in this hotel talking bunting for 2 hours with Tony Perkins and Scott Brown. Now, if you know Perk, you understand that we were drinking a lot of cold ice waters that afternoon and that evening. But I'm sitting there with these guys, and I'm going, they have forgotten more about the game than I'm ever going to know. And these are guys that our team has beat them if we ever want to get what we want to get to, right? And they're openly talking about what they do, how they do it, to help my team. There's a lot of people in our association who will help each other. And I think that's what makes us unique. And I would say this to the young guys in the room, tap into that. Go talk to people. Ask, because life's going to kick them in the rear end sometimes. It's going to kick us all in the rear end. And when that happens, can you fight? Can you fight through it? Are you going to go on to become a good husband and good father? That's what we're trying to go and build, and I've been fortunate enough to have been able to do that for the last 18 years. I share this honor tonight with every player, assistant coach, and the entire Blue Springs South community that has supported me throughout my career. I am incredibly grateful and humbled for the opportunity to be a part of high school baseball in Missouri. Good luck this spring. Thank you very much.
All right, our second inductee is Brian Harmon. Brian Harmon was a coach at Crane High School, and he was there for 29 years. He got 392 wins, pretty impressive. Last 2 years, him and his wife Holly have been taking over Bill and Janet's job as the exec directors. And, you know, Ben mentioned his wives. Those two are pretty good. So with that, Brian Harmon, come on up.
All right. I could individually thank everyone that came out, but I'm so overwhelmed by how many did, and he wouldn't let me because he would pull me off the stage if I talked that long. So I first want to congratulate Ben and Rob for their induction. Couldn't go in with two better guys. We've kind of had a text group for the last year where we've planned things out when we needed information, and I think I've been friends with them both for years, but become closer friends because of that. It's been helpful, and they were in on the decision when we had to move the date and everything, and couldn't have worked with two better guys on that. Some thank yous. Fundraising U, they're the reason we're able to do this. They donate a lot of money to us for a lot of things that we do. The Hall of Fame committee, when Coach Perkins told me last year that I was going to be inducted, I was humbled and overwhelmed, but I do appreciate them for that. I have a lot of former players and some player parents in attendance. Like Ben said, it's the relationships we build. It's nice to see some of them come here with their spouses, with their kids that are better looking than they were when I had them, and just bringing them along for it. Assistant coaches, I've got several former assistant coaches in attendance, and to echo what Ben said, you surround yourself with good people, good things happen, and that's what I've tried to do. And just keep good assistant coaches around. You may see things You may get one that decides he's going to hang around and help you with camp the next year. Next thing you know, he's coaching your junior high program. You may see an assistant coach that comes in, and when he has an idea on how to help you change things, he comes in and tells you he had a dream of a Hall of Fame coach coming and talking to him and making that change, and then we make the change, and it turned into one of our best seasons we've ever had. You may have a coach one day that comes in, doesn't only invite you to their wedding, they ask you to officiate their wedding, and that was a great thing that I got to do. You may have coaches that come back to your program and then you retire and they get you in other lines of work that you never thought you'd be a part of. So, opposing coaches in attendance. We all have rivals, and our rivals a lot of times become the coaches that are our best friends in the coaching profession. I can tell when Joe Garrison's out there, when he was at Hartville, my kids told me after we played him a few times that we were developing a rivalry with them, and I had to teach my kids a lesson right there because we didn't develop a rivalry until we finally beat them one time, and then once we beat them, it became a rivalry. But Joe has moved on to Mansfield, and we've continued to be friends over the years. Justin Snyder, we battled in our old Southwest Central League, our conference, for years, till they kind of outgrew the conference and moved on, and Justin and I had some great battles over the years. When they moved out of the conference, Purdy moved in, and Josh Hughes. Josh and I have talked over the years that we both, when we first started coaching against each other, walked away from some games thinking, I don't know if I like that guy or not. And I have to say, to this day, Josh is one of my best friends in coaching. We developed a rivalry. Josh and I, the only game I've ever been in where we get into extra innings and the umpire stops the game to tell us both he's hurt enough at the same time. And the umpire was right that he probably had hurt enough, but he also followed that with, my strike zone's been good all night, and that's where he lost us both. But these opposing coaches are what make this great. My wife, Holly, she's a Hall of Fame wife. You know, people say sometimes your spouse, you can finish each other's sentences. Well, I can hear her voice in my head when I was coaching sometimes. Like when I've got a runner coming to third and I hold him up and I hear her voice saying, send him. Or I'm headed out to have a nice, calm discussion with the umpires and I hear her voice say, be professional. At least I thought I was hearing that in my head. It turns out that was actually her voice on the other side of the fence saying those things. We were watching the World Baseball Classic the other night, and I saw something that I've never seen in my life. And it was a manager with his interpreter arguing with an umpire. Holly, a former Spanish teacher, I said, if we ever had a Spanish-speaking umpire and you were my interpreter, that would be interesting. She said, yeah. I would have to look at you and say, no, I'm not going to tell him what you just told me to say. And she said she would just tell him, just call the balk and he'll leave you alone. She had the uncanny ability to know so much about baseball that when I got home from a game that she knew it was going to be rough on me because if something went poorly, she had the ability to pretend like she was asleep so she didn't have to hear me talk about it and rant and rave about it. So, my mom, she was most of the time the biggest Pirates baseball fan. But when we were playing against Clever, when my nephew Tyler played there, she says she was torn, but I think I saw her clap for Clever more than I did Crane during those years. And I know there were times when we had games the same night and she wasn't at my game. I don't know where she was. But she knew enough about baseball to let me know after a particularly bad game that I probably need to hear something good, so I'd just get a text before I went to bed that said, hey, great job tonight. You did a good job. I knew she was probably lying, but she thought I needed to hear that because Holly was pretending to be asleep. Very, very few people in this room knew my dad. He was very serious. He was quiet. He never showed much emotion. But I have no doubt that he's on this stage here with me. He's enjoying the ride. He was my biggest influence in sports and wanted me to be successful as a coach. Family, I'm overwhelmed with the many that are in attendance tonight. I got to coach some of those family members, Got to coach against some of those family members. Tyler again, because my sister sitting there took him to Clever for a rival where he could be an all-state pitcher against me instead of for me. But Tyler got to come coach with me and be an assistant, so that was a great. He's one of 4 nieces and nephews that I have here that actually spent time in my dugout. Tyler's the assistant coach. Addison and Shay is tag-along, I guess we could call. And Lauren used to be my official scorekeeper sometimes, so those guys all did a great job with that. 17 years ago, I came to the Hall of Fame induction for my head coach, Coach Bob Conrad. He asked me to come and introduce him, and so I did. And he retired in 2006, and the thing I remember most about his retirement, him telling the team that he was going to retire and following that up with, I'm going to recommend to the school board that Coach Harmon replace me, and if they don't do that, they're crazy. And our school board allowed me to do that, and I've worked with great school boards and great administration, have some administrators here in attendance today. Coach Conrad coached me from Little League through the beginning of my coaching career. And I always say he's a great judge of talent, one of the best judges of talent, because after coaching me in Little League, junior high baseball, freshman year of high school, the start of my sophomore year, he found how he could get the most out of me. He handed me a scorebook and said, here, try this. And to this day, I'm one of the best scorekeepers that you'll ever see. Wasn't a great player, but did what I was asked. Coach's family, his son Kyle's here with him. Kyle was a teammate from my Little League days on. Kyle's son Chase is not here, but Chase played for me toward the end of my career. So my coach, my teammate, and my player are all involved in that one family right there. Coach's wife, Carolyn, she's always been there to support the program. She was the mother of Crane baseball for years, till she stepped aside and let Holly be that, and she became the grandmother of Crane baseball, and still supported us up until the end of my coaching career. I know I've missed some individuals. There's people out here I've not mentioned by name, but I appreciate every one of you. I coached, like I said, I coached relatives. I've got some that are out there that played for me. My brother-in-law we used to play wiffle ball in the yard, and he always batted left-handed. When he played baseball, he batted right-handed, and I told him one year, I said, this summer you're batting left-handed. He said, I can't hit left-handed. I said, we've established you don't hit very well right-handed, so let's give it a try. And he became a pretty good left-handed hitter. I want to, Ben gave some advice to young people out there, and that's what I want to finish up with, a couple of stories. I want to talk about making memories. I'm not talking about remembering things. There's a difference between remembering things and making memories. When you remember things, you can talk it through and recall the information. When you make a memory, it's there. You don't have to think about it to get it to come out there. I'm going to talk about 2 former players that I had, and neither one of them are here today. But the first one came in 1996 as a freshman, is one of the most talented young kids I've ever coached still to this day. He's what we all dream of, you know, the 5-tool player. He could do it all. He came to me one day after practice, and at the start of his freshman year, he said, Coach, kind of looks like I might be in the varsity lineup. And I said, Terry, you're going to be in the varsity lineup. And he said, how do I know if I really belong there? And I said, you'll know after a couple games. It didn't take that long. Coach Conrad and I knew after a couple practices he was going to be a great player. And he graduated with the single-season home run record and the career home run record at Crane. One of the toughest things Coach Conrad and I ever had to do 2 years after Terry graduated was go visit his family after he died in a car wreck on Christmas Day. And just the memories I have of coaching a young man like that, the 5-tool player, but a 5-tool human being as well. The second individual, I mentioned the first one, Terry Woodward, was a 5-tool player. This was a 0-tool player. He didn't run well. He couldn't hit well. He didn't have a good arm. He just didn't have any of the tools. He came and showed up for a meeting to play junior high baseball one year, and I looked him over and thought, oh, well, maybe. Then I saw him practice, and then I thought, no, he won't make it. He's not going to last 6 years in the program. Well, you know, he got to his senior year and looked through some things, and you find those kids like that, you find a spot, you get them in there, and, you know, try to get them some success. Occasionally something would happen. And he didn't play much. But his senior year, we were good. We got on a run. After we win the district championship at Crane, it's a tradition that the seniors go up and take the trophy after we win something. And my 5 seniors walked up, and 4 of them stood back and let him go take the trophy. He hadn't played in that game, but they let him take the trophy, and there's pictures out there of him holding that trophy, just as fired up as everybody. And then we fast forward on to the state quarterfinal game and playing Coach Garrison, and it was a close game most of the way through. It kind of got away from us late, and I put this young man into pinch run with 2 outs in the 7th inning, not because he was faster than the guy I put him in. I just wanted him to get on the field one more time. He ended up, that last out was made, and he's sitting on third base crying. It meant just as much to him as it did everybody on that field. I reached out and asked permission to this guy and said, hey, I want you to allow me to share our conversation we had after your last game. And he said, yeah, sure, Coach. And so I'd like to share with you what happened. That last game, I walk up and, you're giving the hugs, you're feeling bad because you just came up short from the Final Four. And Coach Garrison had been the year before, so I don't know why he needed to go again, but he could have helped us out a little bit maybe. But this young man walks up to me, and he's tears in his eyes and starting to cry. And I said, hey, I just want to say, and he stopped me right there. He said, stop, Coach. Just stop. He said, I know what you're going to say. You're going to say you wish I could have played more. And he said, we both know that if I'd have played more, we wouldn't be in the state quarterfinals today. Our season would have ended a long time ago. He got it. He understood. But he was worth being on that team. He went on to spend a few years in the United States Navy, named Luke Minton. Great guy, great kid, and I know his parents real well. His parents were the first ones I saw after the district championship game when he didn't get to play. We went out to eat, and they're sitting there, and they were the first ones to thank me for allowing him to be on the team. So it's not all about the guys, the numbers, like Ben said. It's the guys. It's those other things. So make memories, things that you will one day, if you are a lucky person like Ben, Rob, and me, and you get to come up on the stage, you'll get to share some of those same memories. And you never know. One day you may retire. You may go into another profession with one of your players, and you get a chance to make one more memory with other players. Thank you again to everybody, and congratulations to everybody.
Our third inductee is Rob Struckoff, and he's from St. Francis Borgia, which is in Washington High School. He is Borgia through and through. He graduated from there, and he's still there. He played baseball at East Central and Central Methodist. Some things that stuck out to me is he coached 59 college players and 6 professional players. That's pretty impressive. 2 Final Fours, first in 2019 and second in 2023. So, where you at, Robbie? Come on up, buddy.
Well, definitely in the third spot here, it's going to be tough, 2 tough facts to follow there. Probably not going to be as professional as Ben was up here, and definitely not as funny as Brian, but 2 great speeches, guys. It was awesome to listen to you guys talk about your teams and your careers. If I don't stay with this, my coaches know how this is going to end up. We're going to keep going, keep rattling. We'll be here as long as we usually are. So we're going to try to get out of here. So good afternoon. First off, thank you to everyone for coming today. I know everyone here has busy lives, so taking the time to come back after the postponement means a lot to all of us being honored today. Congratulations, Coach Bear and Coach Harmon, on your inductions. Very well deserved for all you have meant to Blue Springs South and Crane High Schools, respectively. I'm humbled but honored to be in this 2026 Hall of Fame class with you. Stories are always good, so let me tell one from my coaching career. Coach Understall is probably going to remember this one. I believe Coach Piontek may have even been on the team. We were having practice on a Saturday morning. At the end, we gathered together, and I was given the usual weekend speech. Don't drink, be careful driving, make good decisions, take care of each other, the usual after practice weekend speech. As I was finishing, there's a car drives by the field, just engine roaring, tires squealing as it goes by. And I'm like, this is perfect, all right? This idiot is gonna be my example. So I break into my perfect coaching tone. I'm like, guys, that's exactly the type of person we don't want you to be. All right? So the guys start chuckling, they're laughing, they're looking at each other, and I'm wondering what's coming next. And one of them finally raises his hand, and he goes, Coach, that's my dad. So we all had a good team laugh on that one. Now, the moral here, though, is we all deal with players coming from many different environments, even at a private Catholic school like Borgia. They have their attributes and their flaws, but our job is to bring them together as a team. Not an easy task, but that is our mission. I commend each of you for your efforts in molding your boys into men as they move through your programs. With all its ups and downs, successes, and especially the failures, baseball is a great tool for this. There are many I need to thank for this because this is not just an individual honor. First, I'd like to thank God. He put me in a special place. I not only was fortunate to receive my education from St. Francis Borgia, my parents are both graduates from St. Francis Borgia too, which is crazy, but I get to teach and coach there, and I work with so many good people. I'm certainly very blessed. And on the other side, my great-grandpa was even a maintenance man at Borgia, so it really runs in the family. Thank you to the Missouri High School Baseball Coaches Association. High school baseball has improved so much since I began coaching almost 3 decades ago. The teaching provided by the clinic, plus the accolades and events for the players and coaches are first class. All members should be proud of what this organization does for our young men. Also, I know between the original clinic and today, there was a lot of work and tough decisions to be made. I really appreciate all you guys did to make today happen. Thank you to the Hall of Fame committee. This induction means a lot to our program, our school, our coaching staff, and me personally. This honor helps validate what Borgia Baseball does as a program. Nobody gets into coaching to garner personal awards. However, this does feel pretty damn cool. Thank you to our administrators at Borgia, Pam Tholen and Spencer Understall. They come to our games to support our young men. They allow us to compete in events and hold our own tournament, even if it means me missing a few days of school. They even allow Spencer, who is our assistant principal, to keep coaching baseball, which is something that doesn't happen in a lot of schools. Thank you to our activities director, Chris Aaron, and his secretary, Rhonda Quattlebaum, plus our previous ADs. As we all know, there are plenty of things that get done behind the scenes. We have been fortunate to have some great ADs over the years that have allowed us to grow into the program we've become. Thank you to the St. Francis Borgia High School Athletic Association. This association is the envy of many. They supply everything we need for our team: uniforms, equipment, umpires, and field maintenance, to name a few. They raise hundreds of thousands of dollars every year to fund our athletics. None of our tuition money at Borgia goes to athletics at all. That's all raised privately. In 2014, this organization built our new baseball complex. This allowed us to move from the city park field to campus. What an incredible asset this group has been to our program. Thank you to the baseball coaches I played for. They include my high school coaches, Doug Light, Dale Gildahouse, and Dave Nyer, my American Legion coaches, Larry Mounty and Leroy Eggert, and my college coaches, Steve Weinhold, Steve Phipps, and Jim Dapkus. I was fortunate to have a lot of team and personal success in high school and college. I couldn't have done it without these coaches. In my coaching career, I've coached football with Hall of Famer Dale Gildahouse and boys basketball with Hall of Famer Dave Nyer. These two men were coaches I had played for in high school, and I respect very much. It was amazing getting to coach with these legends and learn from them. I also worked with other great coaches in sports outside of baseball, including Dwayne Haddocks, Pat Matthews, Glenn Rurg, and Dave Haddocks. They all connect with their players in their own way, and I try to take bits and pieces of each of their strategies to make myself a better coach. Thank you to the parents of our players. They take care of concessions, road trip meals, getting the younger players to practice, and other things over the course of the year. Most importantly, they've raised great young men for us to coach. I'm honored they entrust their kids to us. And I also need to thank the players. I've been so lucky to coach these young men. One thing at Boards of Baseball, we have you've probably heard of Wooden's Pyramid of Success. We have Boards of Baseball as we call it the 4 bases of baseball. We teach our character, commitment, grit, and fun, and those are the things we stress with our program. So that's when we hope our kids come out with that when they're through. Some of these kids, they end up being superstars for us. Some end up being starters on the team. Some end up being role players, but they all end up being Borgia Knights. And most importantly, they later become doctors, farmers, lawyers, mechanics, businessmen, insurance agents, teachers, coaches, and fathers. Their success in life brings the meaning to what we do. Thank you to my fellow Borgia baseball coaches. Spencer Understall played on my first team, and this will be his 19th year coaching baseball with me. We've had a lot of great times together, both on and off the field. It's been a hell of a ride with him. Some of my wins can be attributed to him. He had to cover for me when my son was born and when my other son joined the Army. There were some times he had to take over the team. At the end of our home games, his young sons always come on the field and they run the bases, and I love watching this and having that family atmosphere continue there. Alex Piontek is our pitching coach. He played for us and has coached 9 years now with us. Jacob Drayle also played at Borgia, and he is in year 4. Kevin Arvin is in his 6th year on staff, and White Logue is in year 2. They coach our JV and C teams. Coach Drayle, Arvin, and Logue are volunteers, and we are lucky to have them. And former coach Andrew Eggert is here too. He coached 9 years with us and also played for us at Borgia. One of the great benefits of being a coach is the friendships made and the camaraderie shared, which the other coaches mentioned. Man, have we had some fun over the years, especially in the shed. All right. For those who don't know, the shed is where we meet after games to do stats and maybe enjoy a refreshment or two. It's one of the benefits of working in a Catholic school. These guys are incredible to work with. They care for the players, and they pull the best out of them. We challenge each other and try to make the best decisions for the team. We have great chemistry, and I think the players see that. One thing that makes it easy for me is that I've had so many players come back to coach with us. 9 of my former players have come back to coach, and 3 currently are coaching with us. With that comes familiarity with what we do. Having the coaching staff all on the same page makes it easier for the coaches and the new coaches and the players to catch on. My coaches have definitely been a blessing to me, and that is why I see this induction as a program award. Thank you to my friends and former teammates from high school, Legion, and summer ball. I have a group that came here to support me today. I really appreciate that they made the trip. Aaron, Martin, Mike, I'm extremely happy to have you in my life, and it's fortunate, and I appreciate you guys being here today. Thank you to my in-laws from both sides of the family. Most of them are here, which is a testament to what a great extended family I have. They all love discussing baseball too, or at least they pretend to for my sake. You guys mean the world to me, even if I don't always appreciate those group text messages. Also, it's my mother-in-law's birthday today, so I'd like to say happy birthday to Carol. Did you hear that, Randy? Thank you to our longtime bus driver, Ken Feldman. He and his wife, Chris, are here today. Ken was not only our bus driver for many years, he is also my uncle and my godfather. It was great to share some of the biggest wins of my career with him, but also simply to hang out with him on trips. Just a great experience for me that I always cherish. Thank you to my family. We have been through a lot the last 2 years. Mom passed away in 2024 after a short battle with brain cancer, and my younger sister, Steph, died of cancer last May at the age of 47. Back in the day, Steph was a good softball player, but she decided to take up cheerleading in high school. My sister, Corey, who is here, was my first real teammate. We were only a year apart, and played ball all the time in the yard growing up. She had a solid arm and I used to pay her to pitch me baseballs in the hayfield next to her house. I gave her a penny a pitch, and there was no L screen either, and she also had to go shag all the balls too. It was probably not her best business decision, but it worked out for me. My brother Brian is Borges' biggest fan. If you ever come... If you ever come to games and see a guy in a wheelchair by the dugout, it's him. He was born with cerebral palsy, but he loves sports and never says no to going to games. If you ever meet him, you've got a friend forever. My dad is here. We grew up on a dairy farm in Augusta, Missouri, so he was always pretty busy. However, he found time to coach some of my early teams and continued to make it to games throughout my playing and coaching career. He still comes to many games and sits in his old red truck behind center field fence. Also, at 83 years old, he still farms, drives his grain trucks around, tractors, and whatever else needs to be done on the farm. Any work ethic I have comes from him. Thank you, Dad. My competitiveness, though, comes from Mom. She was our team scorekeeper growing up, but I know she knew as much about baseball as anyone, and she wasn't afraid to speak her mind. My wife did not like sitting at games with her because Mom would complain loudly about errors and other mistakes our players would make, even if their families and parents were behind her. However, she was allowed us to cheer and when things went well. During our 2019 state championship year, one of Mom's friends had a grandson on the team, and she was not happy when we had practice on Mother's Day, the day before district started, and she complained to Mom about it. As we celebrated the state championship on the field, my mom turned to her friend in the stands and said, "That's why we practiced on Mother's Day." Thanks, Mom. Thank you to my children. It's not easy having a dad for a coach, especially if you want to play sports. They have to deal with someone who always seems to know better. But I hope they know I encourage them and push them because of my experiences and what I think will be best for them. Sports have given me some of my best moments with my kids. Getting to have my son Owen on our state championship team as a sophomore and watching him become a starter as a senior was incredible. He's a sergeant in the Army now, so please keep him and all those who serve in your prayers, especially with all that's going on now in the world. Working with my daughter Avery in the batting cage last fall almost daily after practice was incredible. And watching her get to the Final Four while making the all-district, the all-area, and academic all-state teams made me burst with pride. And now my son Case, who is in 8th grade, has been working out with our team, and I can see big things in his future too. My kids mean the world to me, but I've got one last thank you, but it's an important one. Thank you to my wife, Ange. Being a coach's wife is a roller coaster ride. You've been patient with me during our team's biggest failures. You celebrate our greatest successes. You never question why I stay late after a game or practice, or for some strange reason, I get frustrated with high school kids sometimes. You understand that baseball is important to me. You give me unwavering support. I would never have become the man I am without you with me. You push me to be a better coach, teacher, father, and husband. I love you more than anything. I'll finish with a quote from Ernie Harwell, the legendary Detroit Tigers announcer. This quote hangs framed in my classroom. Baseball is a lot like life. It's a day-to-day existence, full of ups and downs. You make the most of your opportunities in baseball, as you do in life. Thank you, everyone, and go Knights.
Step in here real quick.
We have one more person we would like to recognize. The Coaches Association would like to thank Justin Rogers for serving as our president for the past 2 years. And as a thank you, we would like to present him with this plaque as a token of our appreciation.
Well, I've been at these things before. You think I might remember, but I had no idea that was coming. Thank you. It's been an honor and a privilege. Thank you guys for being here. What a wonderful Sunday afternoon. Appreciate you guys being here to celebrate 3 Hall of Fame men. I've been fortunate enough to get to know each of them on some level for the last several years, and couldn't be 3 better guys than the three men we got to put in today with Ben, Brian, and Rob. Congratulations to each of you again. So deserving for all of you. Appreciate everyone being here. It was a wonderful time, and it's been an honor and a privilege to serve as the president of this great organization for the last 2 years. Look forward to continued success with Brian and Holly Harmon as the executive director and executive secretary, and Jim Julian stepping up as our president for the next 2 years. Look forward to a lot of success to continue from this group. Again, thank you for being here. This concludes our program. You guys have a great Sunday. Good luck to everyone this season who's participating. Thank you.